Hello everyone and welcome to my digital anthology. My name is Memento and today I'll be discussing Christopher Nolan's film Memento. Through my anthology I explore one central question. How does memory shape identity? My overall argument is that memory is the foundation of identity because it shapes how people understand themselves, their experiences, and their place in the world. Memento offers one of the most fascinating perspectives on this question because it helps ask what happens when a person can no longer create new memories. The film follows Leonard Shelby, a man living with anterograde amnesia after a traumatic attack that also resulted in his wife's death. Because Leonard cannot form new long-term memories, he depends on photographs, handwritten notes, and tattoos to remind himself who he is and what he believes is true. At first, these reminders appear to give Leonard control over his life. Each scene begins without context, forcing us to piece together the story just as Leonard pieces together his own life. Rather than simply watching memory fail, we experience what it feels like to live without being able to trust it. That makes the film's message far more powerful than if the story had been told in a traditional way. Looking across my digital anthology, Memento presents one perspective on memory and identity. Still, Alice explores what happens when memory gradually disappears because of Alzheimer's disease. The Memory Palace demonstrates how storytelling preserves memories across generations. Together, these works show that memory can be fragile, powerful, and deeply connected to who people become. To conclude, Memento demonstrates that identity depends on far more than facts or experiences alone. The memories people trust, question, and even reshape influence how they understand themselves and the world around them. Christopher Nolan reminds us that memory is never perfect, but it remains the foundation upon which identity is built. Thank you. He asked himself, do I lie to myself to be happy? Instead of searching for complete truth, Leonard chooses the version of events that give his life purpose. The moment reveals that identity is not built only from memory itself, but also from the meaning people attach to those memories. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus supports this idea by explaining that memory is reconstructive rather than perfectly accurate. Instead of replaying the past exactly as it happened, people rebuild memories each time they remember them, often influenced by new experiences and emotions. Memento takes this psychological idea even further by showing how unreliable memory can completely reshape a person's identity. What also makes the film unique is Christopher Nolan's decision to tell the story in reverse chronological order. Instead of watching Leonard remember the past, viewers experience the same confusion and uncertainty that he feels every single day. However, as the story unfolds, Christopher Nolan encourages viewers to question whether memories and records can always be trusted. One of the film's most memorable lines comes when Leonard says, "Memory is not perfect. It's not even that good." This statement immediately challenges something many of us take for granted. We often assume that memory records the past accurately, but Memento suggests that memory is influenced by emotion, interpretation, and personal belief. As viewers, we quickly discover that Leonard's notes and tattoos are not necessarily objective facts. They are based on what Leonard believes as a particular moment, making them just as vulnerable to misunderstanding as his memories themselves. What I find most interesting is that Leonard slowly begins to shape his own identity through the stories he chooses to believe. Near the end of the film, he makes a decision that changes everything.